Alright, so we're doing more viewer games. For those unfamiliar how this works, we're going to be... What's it called? We're going to be doing a pre-watch first. Since obviously I'm unfamiliar with everyone, watch the game first to get a little bit of context, then we'll go through and I'll give some of my thoughts. This is all very light, we're just kind of working with what we have. Can my POV changer work? And yeah. That is risky with the mints, but the jump is very nice there. Hopefully my Twitch chat decides to work today. Okay. I have a feeling this choke point is going to become a running problem in this attempt to push. Or are we going to get Kraken in time? Nope. Oh, but everyone's dead. Alright. Okay. Alright. Solid push. We just gotta defend. We have a lot of annoying tools on our comp. Just don't really have much consistency, but it should be okay. They're probably getting distracted. Unless we get a Kraken in time. Maybe? Yeah, we're in time. Great. Recently have 5 stars on Chara. Congratulations. Wait, let me see if there's any notes. Play around the comp. Generally an Inkbrush player, but switch to Octobrush on this map. Especially with what we're running. Okay, so this is like a whole team and everything. I can give team-specific advice here. Awesome. That is very useful. I like the comp. I do actually really like this comp. The Dynamo Wellstring has quite a lot of synergy. The only, like, a little out-of-place thing to me is Ed Perry. He's just, like, not the main, just the kit. So, like, having Bubble or Crab would help his comp significantly. There's a lot of clumping up going on, though. Like, both defense and offense, we have, like, all 4 players kind of standing on top of each other quite a lot. That's not uncommon on this map. But your comp has a lot of ways around it, so it's a little concerning for me. Defense, it's also a bit scary, because you're kind of the... Well, I guess the end parry can be the flanker. I kind of expect you to be the flanker, but you have Kraken. That's like your... Oh, okay. That's like your Save the Rainmaker special. I would definitely not grab that early. Our Dynamo's going in. Okay, yeah. Our, like, retakes are very out of order, I want to say. This is early. But I think we're just very scared about losing lead. We gotta push this Smith. Nice. Alright. When people, like, push Rainmaker on this map to get it out of their base, I don't know why so many people go directly into the middle. Like, this is even a note I have to give Moonlight. Like, we gotta stick to the corner. That's fine. Are you, Try, if you're in chat, do you normally play the Kraken Brush? Or do you play Zip? Because I know this brush is new, so I don't know if you have experience with Zip Brush or not over this. That's a really good kill. Oh, panic. Oh, and the hammer didn't hit. That is tragic. Wow. What an ending. Okay, so we have a defense where we are stuck on defense, like, pretty much permanently since they start their push. A very clumped offense. We're fighting double blaster, and we're all clumped. Only Kraken Brush. Okay. Okay. On Rainmaker, I think, like, you can flex between the two a little bit more. Personally, I don't really like Kraken Brush as much, and I also don't really like it as much with this comp. You guys really need someone who will take a wide angle, because your Dynamo and Wellstring are very slow, and they kind of just want to chip and hold an area in a similar position. It's like, when someone needs to go on an off angle, I usually want it to be you, and Zipcaster is just going to be better at enabling that more frequently, and allowing you to, like, convert from playing with the team to playing on a flank very easily. Ideally, like, your end parry can also do that, but I don't like your end parry being on end parry. I want them on Crab or Bubble Dooley, because, one, it's an extra bomb, which is always nice, but two, you guys don't really have any stability special at all. You have no way when you walk into an area to actually take it. So, like, if we look at this choke point right here, right? If you can use Bubble to help get around the bend, or to even secure your position once you get around it, you give your comp a good chance to regroup and get back in. You have a lot of weapons that are going to be risky at times, like maybe your Wellstring gets a greedy hammer, Dynamo can blow up because it's a Dynamo, you and the Dooley are obviously going to run in. You have a lot of jumps in if the comp plays aggressive, which, like, you're going to play this comp aggressive. It's like stability tools like that will help a lot. Hi, TBH. I'm the VWell here. Our Emperor is usually in V-Dooley. Okay. Like, that makes sense as well. And then it's also a defensive tool you can use to, like, hang back, control space. But it's like, okay, if we put your Dooley on, like, V-Dooley or Bubble Dooley, then they're not going to be able to flank as much, and that puts more of the emphasis on you, right, to cover the flank for the rest of your team. And it's, again, in that circumstance where Zip will do a lot better. Because, like, if you're on defense and you're dropping into the middle of the map and something goes wrong on your side of the map, you can actually get back to your team immediately if you're on caster, right? It gives you an option for that. Or a similar deal, if you're playing back on defense and then need to get an angle, you can just use Zip and have access to all these, like, mobility and retake options. And it'll also just keep your main weapon uptime stronger. Now, it is Kraken and Rain, so, like, you know, you can Kraken cheese. It'll help you on defense a little bit. But I don't think it's worth it, if it hasn't gotten obvious by now. I don't think the trade-offs are worth it, especially for a comp with this limited mobility. Dynamo and Wellstring together are just very slow. So, like, if you're going to run that duel, I expect your other two weapons to be very willing to be mobile and take angles more frequently. I actually might try staying in overhead a little bit more today instead of the individual POV when I'm doing the overall review. I don't have much to say on the opening, because it's just your classic bait and punish, which is very strong. You get the jump over the mint. Like, all of this is pretty normal. I kind of want to look a little bit at this play right here. So, okay, I'm going to watch. I need to see how much damage we're taking on Dooley. Hold on. Before I critique this, right? Take one shot. Okay. Dragon Ivy, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Much appreciated for the gift sub. Okay, so when we're... Right, this is kind of the one thing that worries me a lot about this comp, you know? It's when we get to this bend, we don't really have a good amount of ways of getting around it. It's where your comp kind of needs to use a bit more... Like, I want your positioning to change a little bit. So, for example, if we flip your... Or maybe your Wellstring will do this, but I'm assuming they go for Rainmaker Pop. Because they're a Wellstring. Yes. Where do we go after Pop? Right. We also need to not use hammers like this. If we're going to be just popping an insta-throwing hammer, the other team, like, your team better already be running in. No one's going in right now. There's no follow-up off this hammer. Like, solo hammer throwing is very rarely something I'm going to like. But if you're going to do it, then I expect there to be people to combo off the 60 hit at least. Like, right now, this damage doesn't have a follow-up. But my main, like, downside here is look how clumped your team is. No one really takes any form of wide angle here. So you have two options to deal with that. One, you know, it's what Caster helps with, which is you can kind of get an angle, you can zip behind, go up here and do something annoying. In this case, like, flanking with your main weapon is just very slow on this map, which is kind of the hard part about pushing. My other recommendation would be to move your Dynamo or Wellstring, like, closer to the middle of the map and have them poke and pull at a bit more of an angle. Because once this bubble is set up, and you guys have to position around it, nobody's positioned on this side of the bubble, you know? So there's not really any, like, pincer from your team. We're kind of just fighting in a line here. Their team's walking in, we're walking back on the other line. And this will be a note that we do a lot when it comes to these kind of VOD reviews, right? But if you want an advantage in your team fight, your team needs to have wider angles than the opponent is. Right now, there's no difference in angles, but they have high ground and they have a bubble. So their position is stronger. This Rapid can walk in and just kind of fight, and they're going to be fine. So, that's my first critique of this whole situation here, right? I think you're on respawn for most of this. Yeah. So, my second one is, if you guys have, like, I think your whole team kind of slows down. Yeah, it'll be on the second channel eventually. It'll be a while. So, like, if we have, like, Wellstring and Dynamo here, my hope, after the Rainmaker pop, of course, is that you guys are poking damage over the wall more spread out. I think the Wellstring here going for damage is, like, very, like, clumped. These are all, like, you see how close the bolts are to each other? So, Wellstring bolts, when they're close like this, are kind of bad in this situation for two reasons. One, the AoE is smaller, but more importantly, the paint is smaller. Like, there's no turf being put down here that's, like, pushing the enemy team very far away. Right? My other problem is, like, if we're gonna poke, like, all of this Wellstring damage and all of this Dynamo damage over the wall, I need you and the Dually to push. Right? Like, this is where you guys are both being too passive. So it's kind of twofold. I think the, like, Wellstring could be effectively chipping more to give you more space to work with. But also, at some point, we need to hit the go button, because we effectively just wait until they set up their bubble. And by now, it's going to be really late. And then same thing with this follow-up here. If we're going to follow up with the splashdown, then you have to go in with that, right? Because I think the splashdown here is pretty good value, but there's no follow-up from you at all. So it's like, I don't know if this wasn't called or what, but, like, this defensive gameplay is just going to let them effectively reset, which is the whole point of the bubble in the first place. How long have we had Cooler out? We've had Cooler for a while. So, when we're in a situation where we're, like, close to some kind of sustain special, right? We have, like, a Kraken or a Bubble or a Crab or a Booyah Bomb or, like, something that contributes to keeping us alive, and we have Cooler. Our objective should generally be go in, fight with the Cooler, or take some space. You die at some point, or jump back, or whatever. You respawn, you jump back in, and then you have a period you need to sustain for until the next Cooler is active. That's usually going to be the best time to use specials like Kraken, because then you have another method to continue forward momentum to poke into the enemy base without going down. You know, you can use that to, like, be annoying for the next, like, 5 seconds or so. So, right now, my guess is that you're playing passive for Kraken, but you're going to keep the Kraken charge anyway, and if you go in and fight people, you're going to turf while you're doing it, and you'll get your Kraken faster that way, and you'll also be pushing the other team back, keeping them away, potentially getting kills, so that when you respawn and push them with Kraken afterward, you've already done some of the work towards keeping the team back. So, like, sustain specials can help keep space with the special itself, obviously, but when you're Cooler, you need to keep space with, like, yourself. You are effectively the barrier, and you just don't have much of a death penalty, right? You can QSJ out, or if you die, it's not a big deal. So, like, you need to go and, like, do something effectively with this. This is kind of the second time where I see, like, both you and the Dually are in an aggro position. We have damage over the wall, in this case with the Rainmaker instead of the Wellstring, right? And, like, while we have this damage, there's no forward momentum from any aggro. So, like, you guys have all this poke, but I need someone to do something with it. There's, like, a very big disconnect between the pacing of you and the Dooley and the pacing of the Wellstring and the Dynamo. And that disconnect is losing you a lot of team fights. Wave Prism, I did these via Blue Sky. You'll have to do submissions on the post there. It's pretty recent. Okay. This Kraken's still pretty good. Everyone's dead. I would not even help with this Rainmaker pop either, by the way. Like, this happens a lot in Rainmaker when you guys get a big advantage. It's another thing I've had to tell Moonlight, where I'll see multiple people go pop the Rain. Like, everyone's dead. Oh, but I don't want my Dynamo to pop the Rain. I gotta go help, like, them pop the Rainmaker, you know? Don't. Just go. You need to take space. The pop is not the most important thing here. You need space ahead of the Rainmaker, and you need it quickly. It's, like, doubly important in this case because there's also a bubble. So, like, you need to check if there's jumps, which in this case there is, right? But I just want you going forward. Okay, this is gonna be nitpicky, but if we're pushing Rain, I would not push Rain, like, into the blocks here. I would stay wide. This is worth, like, just as much points. Going up closer here barely gets you points. And it just puts you in more danger, and it makes the Rainmaker nearly unrecoverable. When it's back here, it's a lot easier to get the Rainmaker back, because you can more easily influence the pop, right? So that's kind of important. I think this push kind of gets rushed at this point as well. Like, at this point now, you guys have a lot of space right here. This is all, like, a lot of space. You guys now need to set up, like, under ledges, under, like, areas to control and just kind of play patiently here. Like, you guys have advantage, so your Wellstring and Rainmaker are going to walk, like, ideally to this bend and just start poking shots over the ledge for drops, and you guys now need to play punish game off of it. So in this case, we're just being too transparent with the positioning, and we're clumping up, and we're just trying to force things when we don't need to. Like, the choke point on this map has already been passed. You've already worked around the part that requires the resources. So now you need to, like, take your time. The other team will be very desperate in this position. And really the only threat you need to worry about is not letting people get too far up here, but, like, you have a Wellstring and Rainmaker for that. Okay. I'm not sure where the hammer was there. I think that was for repop? I'm gonna assume that was for repop. Okay, so here I don't have as much either. We play for Kraken for defending. I totally get that. They have bubble. Push is a little scary. We're not far away. That's fine. Okay, we go left for cooler, so that's fine. Okay. Okay. Small thing, right? If you want to go center of the map, you either need a very exposed target, or you need to be sharking. You cannot, like, swim through the middle of the map with cooler revealing where you are into the very center of everything, especially against Double Blaster, right? You already have a valuable angle over here. You need to extend your angle, right? Because your team doesn't want to fight back here, I'd assume. Eventually, you know, your Wellstring and Dynamo want to end up in the middle of the map where they can clear and poke around and get space for your team. So if they go to the middle of the map and you're in the middle of the map, then everyone's going to be in the same location. So if they're moving middle, you need to move wide right, like how your Dooley is doing. That way when these people scale forward from the left side, you guys still have this wider angle. You still have paint in front of where your team wants to go, and you can start to create another threat. Because the main thing you want to prevent is when this Rainmaker resets to the middle of the map, you need space ahead of the Rainmaker shield to effectively control the pop and the fight that happens afterward. Right? Azad said, "Coach me, I'm a big fan." You gotta submit a code. It's on the Blue Sky post. Right? Okay, we demolish the fight anyway, which is great. Okay, we die on a jump then, so there's not much I can give for you here. That's unfortunate. I don't think the jump was really bad. If you're giving a jump, by the way, this is general advice for anyone. If you're giving a jump, you should be moving away from the jump as soon as possible. Especially if you are an anchor player. You will be the target of specials, or bombs, or any of the sort. You need to be moving away from it so that your jump doesn't get killed. If they look at your jump, then you'll live. If they look at you, your jump won't be watched. They'll be able to fight and help you, especially if it's an aggro weapon, right? Okay. Okay, so when we get to defense, right, we're all clumped up again, and I want to kind of ask something here, right? We're defending. Where do we need to be? What positions are difficult for us to cover? What positions are we good at covering with this comp, right? These are important things we have to think about. Guys, if you're submitting codes, I'm only taking it on the Blue Sky post right now. I'm not going to take random codes in chat. Y'all got to go submit that way. Thank you. Okay, right. This mint looks a little bit annoying, and like I think the position they're in is a little bit annoying, but I don't think you personally need to respond to this. We have Dynamo that can hit over ledge, we have Wellstring that can shoot down here, you have like a Dooley behind you that can take care of this. There's kind of like very heavy overlap on this mint of way too many people trying to deal with this player at the same time, and so this, you know, these other teammates that are here are going to walk in and set up. Like if the optimal play for the mini here is to just immediately walk in while they're looking at the mint and just set up a bubble around where the S-Blast is. Because nothing really stops that at all, right? So, I think that's one thing that's important. But the other one is your position and where you're going from this. It's like, this position that you're in can't really move anywhere at this point. Once you've taken this spot, you've effectively boxed yourself in. Because the only way you can move out is backwards, right? And if you move backwards, you give up the corner that you fought so hard to achieve in the first place. And it's also going to be where a lot of your more defensive weapons are going to be scaling if they get the opportunity to. So a lot of what I'm critiquing with this position is that you're in the middle of everyone else's job. You're very much overlapping with things your teammates are already doing. So your weapon is losing out on a lot of value. Typically when I play Inkbrush, I drop here in the middle, so Octo, I just don't know where to go. Literally the same thing, just go into middle again. You don't have to change anything, right? You're still a mobile weapon trying to play a wide angle. You don't have to be in the middle here, right? That's kind of the main thing that I would advise, is that, like, just take the angle. Because right now, no one on your team has this wide angle. This is just two teams, once again, running at each other on a straight line over and over again. Right? So there's no forward progress made. And this is also the problem with that. Even if you get a moment of break here when the Rainmaker resets, right? Remember when we talked about resetting in the neutral of the map, and if you have a, you know, if you take space on right side, you'll have a position. Right now, your team has no position to scale. The main place you're going to have to walk into is down here to try to take space. And this is where you would have already been if you walked in a right side immediately. You would have already had some kind of paint or ideally like presence in this position to where when the Rainmaker reset, you would already be moving in and you would be able to extend this angle. But here, we're all still really defensive. Now, the Shard on the Rainmaker is still good. I think that kill is very nice. Okay, we have a lot of just, like, random hammer throws. I get it. It's Wellstring. We don't want to die with our hammer, but, like, we gotta chill on the hammer throw. You can just sit and hold hammer for when they have to cross this part of the map where the entire hitbox will kill them, right? You don't have to hold it. Like, you can hold the special. You don't have to pop it right away. Okay. This is also, like, if we're Krakening here, I assume this Kraken was for the Booyah. So seeing you skip the Booyah here was a little funny. But, like, one, yes, like, obviously if you're gonna Kraken here, like, Kraken the Booyah, I think you know that. But more importantly here, part of why I didn't mean to grab. Oh, yeah, I guess you did, like, barely clip it. That's fair. But, like, this is also why I don't want your Kraken starting from back here. Right? Because if you Kraken on this angle, you're going to have a more immediate impact. You're going to be coming in from a different angle, and you'll have, like, a bit more of a threat. Your recall will also be a more valuable jump position. But, like, even if you don't grab Rainmaker, where are you going to go with this Kraken? Right? I think you have to end somewhere over here, because you can't actually retreat without wasting, like, 80% of your Kraken duration just on moving in and moving back out. Nice Dynamo flick there. No, don't jump out. Okay, guys, this is again not even the person I'm supposed to be coaching, but I know they're in my chat. Don't jump out here. No, 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 no. You're the last line of defense. You have space. They're in a choke point. Spam them. Shoot your partial charge bullets in front of them. They have a bubble. If you're fighting against like Bubble and Vac on Rain, you have to prevent it from getting in. You cannot let them like get in and pop the bubble close enough to get the lead, or you're just gonna lose. Like, you have to hold the line right here, right? Don't give up the choke point. Even if you die, it'll probably be better than jumping out here, right? Like, you still shouldn't be dying. You know, try to stay alive. But you gotta hold the line. Don't let them in. This is also where hammer would be useful if we didn't throw it earlier. They walk in like that, you can pop and throw a hammer at them. Right? Because, like, once this bubble gets here, now everyone on the team has to go for desperation plays because the bubble gets them all the way to the lead. So now we have to do this. And they have another bubble! So it's like, this isn't Splatoon 2. The way the specials work in this game, sometimes the only counterplay is preventing them from setting up far enough. When you deal with Bubble and Vac and Rainmaker especially, you cannot let them get this far. You gotta contest it. Like, immediately. Huge play from the Dynamo. And nice cleanup on the brush. Okay, see how we're both in the middle again, right? And this is why I don't like Rainmaker being in the middle here. Especially here, because look, this is the position you're supposed to be in. Now you can't go here because the Rainmaker is sitting here. So now you can't even go take the wide angle because you put the objective in the way. There's a giant, like, Rainmaker explosion that's about to happen. So now we can't take the position we want to, and we're condensed on the left side of the map. This rapid just takes space, boom. Look how valuable the rapid and mini position is on the right side of the map. You guys are just going to get bullied away from the angle you need to extend into their terrain, right? And if you're over here, you're fighting defensively. Okay, that said, okay, they kicked you out of the right side of the map. We can't go there. Go forward. Get in the trench. Get somewhere in the way. Right? You can't sit back here. You need to go cause problems. You need to pull them away from the Rainmaker. Right now, they want to walk into the Rainmaker, and you're just in the path, right? You're in the straight line again. This is where they're going to be coming from. They're going to walk into you, and your whole team's lined up for them. You got to move. Right? See how we're fighting on the line again? Like, this is where the Rainmaker goes. Need to get off the line. Also, if it's like last 30 seconds Rainmaker and you're running a Kraken, don't pop it for this. You hold your Kraken for defense. You don't want to waste it here, because now you have to farm a whole other Kraken. If you die, you're pretty close to Kraken. If you use it all, now your Kraken's gone. And, like, that's one of the few things that make Kraken worth running over Zip here, so you really can't do that. Okay. Okay. I have much here. I have very much. Okay, first off, this Mint is going on a fucking trip to Narnia flank over here that's going to take them like 8 seconds before they become relevant. We're going to make them relevant sooner by responding to them. We're fighting them so far away from them being a threat to anyone else on our team. Ignore this guy and go fight them, or watch them more defensively. We're giving the Mint more value than they would have had normally just from responding to them so early here. Okay, that's thing number one. I wouldn't have Dynamo go for this Desperation Rainmaker kill because they're the cooler player, and I really want them to get cooler so that the front lines can run in and fight people, so I really don't like this play either. We're in the corner again, which we talked about earlier, but again, once you go here, you literally cannot move. The best thing you could do here is basically plant yourself in this corner. Like, after you get the kill, don't extend for the bubble. Use this tiny amount of wall in your way and just camp here to slow them down as much as possible. That's like the only play you can do from that position. Right. Alright. That is the match. So, overall, my big thing for you guys, you have all of this insane chip damage at like a sizable range, but I need the front lines to push in with it. There's like way too large of a disconnect between the anchor chip damage you're investing in and the inability to walk forward. We have like Hammer, Splashdown, Kraken, no like real backline. We have a well string and like all this like weird AoE stuff. And it's like, the comp is strange, but we gotta use the tools we're investing into. There's no point in running these weapons if we're not gonna be doing anything with them. I would recommend Zip Brush and Crab Dooley over Kraken Brush and Parry Dooley. Kraken Brush is still okay if Zip is awkward. Dooley is the main one I would change. I think flipping those around would do a lot. When we're like pushing in or defending, you need to play for an angle more. If you want to play central, because sometimes you'll play central as an Octobrush, right? You're a good sharking weapon. You'll kind of play for picks on front lines extending. You need to play shark heavy. You need to be patient. You need to be like less transparent with your movement. If you want to be transparent about what you're doing, go play an angle, because the whole point is you want people looking at you when you're doing that. So when you play wider, you be more transparent. When you're playing in the middle, you play more stealth heavy. Yeah? I think your bomb usage was fine. I think Krakens would just benefit from a lot of the angle stuff that I talked about. But again, the main thing is just the disconnect that I have between your like front lines and back lines that I think need to shift a little bit more, and that would do well. Is Octobrush better in this comp than Inkbrush? I'm going to be honest, I think Inkbrush Nuvo is probably just the better weapon in general. But I'm not entirely sure. The gap's not too large, but like... I guess you have more Rainmaker shield damage with Octobrush, and a bit more kill power, so I can get it on a mode like this. But Inkbrush is one of those weapons where you could probably pick it like 90% of the time, and I wouldn't really think about it at all. I wouldn't really care if you just like picked it here. It's like if you wanted to just pick Inkbrush here, go for it. Yeah, that's fine. You can go ahead and do it. I don't think you need to Octobrush here at all. Yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know, but I think that's probably about all I gotta have for this game. Alright, let's get to the teacher now. We coached the student, now we gotta coach the teacher. We have an Akira game. Is this solo queue? This has to be solo queue, right? This isn't real team compositions, I think. I'd assume this is X-Ray. Yeah? Is Akira in my chat? I don't know if Akira is actually here or not. This was 8s. Who? Eights is supposed to have 2 backlines, 2 cooler weapons. Where's the other backline? We're missing... We're missing a second Charger player. Or like Bo or Explo or something in this lobby if this is 8s. Okay. Alright. This is not filling the format. The comps are supposed to be mirrored. That's part of the point of 8s. But we'll roll with this. Okay. We have... Okay. Alright, let's watch the game. Wait, I'm gonna remember to restart the recording.